Hi everyone, today is July 10th, 2019, 5 o'clock p.m., 31 degrees Celsius, 88 degrees Fahrenheit.
This is a Whitehall Street bound to W.
I'll be doing a narrated walk of the neighborhood of SoHo today. SoHo stands for South of Houston Street. It's not pronounced Houston Street for those of you who like to pronounce the name like in Texas, but it's named after William Houston. That's why the name is Houston Street. But that was a Whitehall Street bound W train at the Prince Street station. Getting off at Prince Street and Broadway. I'll take the northwest corner exit just so I could walk up to Houston Street and then walk back down to give you a better overview. Okay, I'm on the street level now, and immediately this is the SoHo neighborhood. Very busy, a lot of tourists come here, and I'll be walking northward. So SoHo as a neighborhood has a lot of history. It was originally farmland like most of New York was, and then became a big manufacturing district leading right up to World War II. A lot of textile companies move in here, a lot of manufacturing and wholesale companies. Then after World War II, a lot of the manufacturing actually left SoHo. So a lot of these buildings became empty lots, and it was actually a blight on the city. In fact, they called it the Hell's 100 Acres. It was full of sweatshops and people didn't want to be here. But SoHo completely changed when artists found a use for the empty lots and the bright windows and the tall ceilings of the area. You can just see I'm pointing my camera up at all those buildings. That's what attracted all the artists to the area. So SoHo became more of a cultural revolution. A lot of change came with the creative minds that came to the area, and then it attracted big brands and businesses to this area. But now I'm at Houston Street. Broadway separates Houston Street into West Houston Street and East Houston Street. But I'll cross the street just so you can get a different perspective. There's a lot of big brands around here. American Eagle Outfitters, Victoria's Secret, Uniqlo, Forever 21. Guess. Broadway is the shopping district of SoHo, the main shopping street. SoHo also borrows its name from London, a neighborhood in the West End of London. But in addition to a big shopping district, SoHo is also known for its many eateries, art galleries, especially like I mentioned, and also the cast iron buildings that were built for the manufacturing industry. It was actually an American revolution. The cast iron was very sturdy and much cheaper to build buildings with it than the traditional bricks. And as a result, most of SoHo is within the historic district and is actually landmarked. So you have a lot of buildings like this across the street is cast iron. It's also known for its cobblestone streets, which aren't on Broadway, but I'll show you some of the side streets when I get down there. The cast iron buildings also allowed people to put a lot of intricate designs. A lot of Italian and French architectural symbols are within these buildings. Dean and DeLuca. It's a very good place to go for all your food needs. It's very hard to see the cast iron buildings because you have all these people just walking. It doesn't really give you that much time to enjoy it unless you step off to the side. Once I go around to the other streets though, you'll be able to see it a lot better. Here's Aldo, Banana Republic. If you want to shop, SoHo's the place to be. A quick tip, all clothing and shoe items under $110 are tax-free. There's no sales tax on clothing under $110. That's the individual item. If you buy an individual item above $110, you'll get taxed 8.875% as of today's date. Nike's across the street. Steve Madden, Club Monaco, AT&T, Skechers. It's very common for the younger crowd to come out here. It's a big fashion district as well. This intersection is just so busy. Broadway between Prince Streets and Spring Streets are the most crowded part of SoHo. I would say it's SoHo Center. And actually the development of the neighborhood of SoHo is the subject of urban revitalization. It's been studied many times how a depressed neighborhood, which no one wanted to be in, became such a highly desired area. Lululemon. Now the thing is, with all these buildings, some of them are so old that they need renovations, and the scaffolding is up, as it always is in New York City. But in order to help promote the business's brands, the property owners have to paste the logo on the outside of the scaffolding and inside too. So you see there, H&M and Zara has their logo posted. This is a unique store, the White and Black House Market.
Almost like wanting to do
This is Mac. Here's Bloomingdale's. A running joke that goes on in SoHo is that there's no public bathrooms, but in Bloomingdale's you can always get a restroom on the second floor. Bloomingdale's is the upscale version of Macy's, the department store. You can also go to Starbucks for the restroom, but I wouldn't recommend it. Starbucks is known to have long lines, and everyone knows there's restrooms there. I just want to step over to the side and show you this building. Another beautiful building, cast iron building with nice architecture and the clock face. But this giant store is for rent. Retail space is available by Cushman and Wakefield. This is Broome Street, a notoriously bad intersection for traffic because it connects directly with the Holland Tunnel going to New Jersey. J. Crew Men's Shop, Top Man, Top Shop. There's the Dolby Audio store across the street. I do see a lot of shoppers with bags today. The Sac Paris is closing out everything. Aldo. ICC, the International Culinary Center. This is Grand Street. Grand Street's also another busy street for traffic. It heads directly into Chinatown. But right now I'm going to cross over Broadway to bring you to the other side of SoHo. The architecture here is just so beautiful. Look at those buildings. The fire escape's kind of distracted from it a little bit, but hey, they need it for people's safety. Now I'm going to take you onto Mercer Street. Mercer Street is also a street that's known for shopping. It's more of the luxury street, luxury high-end shopping street. Like across the street there's a security guard right by the door for Alexander Wang, the New York City luxury fashion designer company. Antique garage. It has live jazz. Looks very cozy in there. Galley Mercer, a fine restaurant. Just pointing my camera up to show you some of the architecture here. This is the cobblestone streets of SoHo, the first one being on Mercer Street. This is the back side of the Dolby store. I showed you the front before. Now these cobblestone streets were also the location of the famous middle finger battle that went viral on the internet a few months ago. I don't know exactly where it was shot in SoHo, but it was here. It's pretty funny if you haven't seen it already, but it was staged, but still very funny. James Purse. So there's more cast iron buildings here, very, very elaborate. And all along the street on Broome Street. Kate Spade, the New York City fashion design company, luxury retailer. If you go shopping at Kate Spade or Alexander Wang, be prepared to pay sales tax because most of the items are going to be more than $110, that's for sure. Page. BCBG. This is the official UGG store of New York City. The famous furry boots.
She did?
SoHo is one of the most expensive neighborhoods to live in New York City because it's so desirable. It's so close to all the shopping and the art and culture. Vince, I've never heard of Vince before. The sound that the vehicles make traveling on the cobblestone streets is not something you hear every day. It's pretty cool, actually. Check out this gray building across the street. It has really interesting architecture. There's even like a tiny line design on the top of the column there on the first floor. Well, now that I look at it closer, there's floral designs too on each of the floors above the first. Very interesting. And then there's a cute building over here that's only 3 stories tall, but Fendi's on the bottom. He thinks, she think, the think, group think. Nice graffiti. This is Press Juicery. Hey. Kind of cool to have people interacting. Vivian Who, never heard of this company, but it looks very, very stylish. Georgetown Cupcake. This entire block is just amazing architecture. The work here of these buildings is incredible. You can see why they were used for manufacturing. They were easy to construct, very condensed, and people were able to get in and out right away. Even the side over here is made of iron. And that's another thing too, when you're walking in SoHo, be careful of these raised metal surfaces. It's easy to trip. I do believe these are Greek columns, but not exactly sure. But they're also made in iron. So I forgot to mention SoHo's boundaries. It's bounded by Houston Street on the north side, on the southern side by Canal Street. The east side is debated, but it's safe to say that it's Crosby Street. And on the west side, it's also hotly debated. The boundary is West Broadway, but that changes all the time depending on who you ask. So now I'm on Prince Street.
It's all right. I mean, it's the same shit that I hear. It's nice, but it's the same level.
There's I can't really read the name of that store. And Other Stories, is that the name of the store? Pretty interesting name. Balenciaga. You know his store is upscale when they have a security guard posted at the entrance. Zadig and Voltaire. Here's a store that a lot of people have heard about, Dolce and Gabbana. Here's an art gallery, Los York, on the second floor. The June Kelly Gallery is on the third floor.
I don't know.
Versani. This looks like a jewelry dealer. Yep, it's all jewelry. Very stylish, very cool. Construction happening on the northern side of Houston Street. That was cool. Burger and Barrel. This place is delicious. Now I'll turn left on the next street, which is Greene Street. You'll see a lot more retailers here and more art galleries. The 420 acid store. Kind of interesting. New York is trying to make marijuana legal. But that's been hotly debated, as with any kind of controversial legislation. This building looks like it's very old, actually. Looks kind of out of place in SoHo. There's Dior across the street.
Yeah, but it's so stuck with that guy.
Brunello Cucinelli. And Hugo Boss.
You got the 500?
There's Hugo Boss. Now here's a street that, a store that many of you are familiar about. Used to actually be a post office here, the Station A of the New York Post Office, but now it's home to the Apple Store. I'll step off to the left a little bit and show you the exterior of the Apple Store. So here's the Apple Store, the top, and the entrance. You can get all your latest iPhones and Macs over there inside. Louis Vuitton and Polo Ralph Lauren across the street. This is a smaller Louis Vuitton. The main one is on 5th Avenue. But it's very, very interesting to see all their designs. But the main store is here, inside this cast iron building. Jimmy Choo, luxury retailer across the street. Linda Farrow, eyeglassware. I don't know what's the story with this building, but it's just called the SoHo building. I'm sure it also has a lot of history.
It's a representation. So like, yeah.
Fendi is across the street. MCM. Alice and Olivia. This is Bo, Bang and Olufsen. John Varvatos. Now this block, I don't really recognize many of the names of these retailers. A lot of these stores actually pop up and disappear as well. They call them pop-up shops, and they're only available for a limited time. Please keep this door locked and closed at all times. I don't think they're listening to that right now. The Marc Jacobs, very interesting storefront, painted pink. Watches of Switzerland. Rolexes in the front window. Original BTC, British lighting manufacturers. So a creative company. Those lights look very nice. There's an art gallery across the street, Eden Fine Arts. Here's Eden. The Monopoly Man. Wow, that's really, really awesome.
Get to
Moosey, Tomorrowland. Jerome Dreyfus, Paris. All these cars to the left are going to the Holland Tunnel into New Jersey. Now I will turn right and continue up Wooster Street. There's construction on Wooster Street. The side streets is where you'll get all the luxury retailers. As I stated before, here's another one, Gucci. Celine, Paris. Gentle Monster. Wow, this is really, really interesting. Moschino. The Real. It also has a garden patio. Those bags look so cool. So many different colors, and I'm sure the material on it is really high quality. The rug company, handmade. So we had a lighting company and now a rug company. I guess something's going to happen with the property across the street. Very interesting how there's a vacant lot there. Vacant lots don't occur in Manhattan too often. A lot of steel plates here. They're doing work on the streets and covered it up to work on it later. Chanel. It's not Channel, it's Chanel. Across the street here. Victorinox, the Swiss Army knife company. Canada Goose. Tiffany and Company. Very stylish vehicle here. Many of the residents who reside here have to be wealthy to afford the high cost of living. Ted Baker, London. So I did mention about eating spots earlier on in this video, but most of the eating spots are on the western end of SoHo. I haven't gotten there yet. Back at Prince Street here. Lululemon Labs. Experimental athletic wear. Johnny Was. Californian fashion. Just amazes me how much more quiet these side streets are when compared to Broadway or Prince Street. Diane von Furstenberg. The North Face. Wow, they're closing on July 21st. That's only 11 days away. So it's good I'm capturing this on video because they won't be here in 2 weeks. Can you imagine that? Sometimes it's very difficult doing business in New York City, especially when you don't have the foot traffic and the high cost of maintenance and rent eat into your profit margins. So I'm back at Houston Street. I'll walk west to West Broadway, which is what I define as the western boundary of SoHo. West Broadway becomes LaGuardia Place after Houston Street. Okay, my battery expired, but I'm continuing this walk. This is Dos Caminos, Mexican restaurant in SoHo. Very popular spot. Starbucks, of course. The World Trade Center is in the distance. I'm not sure if you can make it out on this video. The ⁴ Gallery across the street, an art gallery. Ari. Many of the art galleries have actually moved out of SoHo just due to the expenses of staying here. Now Chelsea is known more as the art scene when compared to SoHo, but you still have art galleries around here. like George Burgess Gallery and this one over here, DTR Modern Galleries. Martin Lawrence. Here's Coach. Summer sale at Coach, 50% off items. Now, if you want food, Prince Street is where you want to be. Even though I said that past West Broadway, I wouldn't consider it as much as Soho, but you do have a lot of restaurants down that way and up MacDougal Street.
Good birthday.
You can catch some of that on my walkthrough of MacDougal Street and Prince Street. I have a video where I narrate the video and also one where I don't. Moleskin, Fun Socks, Flying Solo. Now it's interesting to see the architecture here because all the cast iron buildings are to the left over here. But then on the right side, a lot of it disappears. The Jamali Gallery Museum Collection. They have places in Fort Lauderdale and Winter Park as well.
They want.
Take a look at this. I wonder if this is part of the street. Oh my goodness. No one wants to step in that hole, that's for sure. Who knows how deep that is. But that's New York infrastructure for you. Especially when contractors dig up the street and put up temporary steel plates to work on the street. Later, that weakens the foundation. It took a whole traffic cone in order to plug that hole up. I hope the city repairs it soon.
So if there is a
Reese of London. Take a look at this. This is very gorgeous. OK Harris. Wow. Very interesting history there from that plaque. I wouldn't have known otherwise. Double RL, ⁴ This is SoHo's WeWork office. WeWork, if you don't know, is a company where you can rent office space and then work at that space temporarily. So it's temporary rental space, but they're very popular around the city. SoHo Gem Fine Jewelry. Now here's Broome Street, the famous street of traffic. I do see ticket agents at the corner of Thompson Street and Watt Street, like they are normally, ticketing drivers for blocking the box. It's a little bit controversial because drivers are obviously upset about it because they feel like it's a trap to get them from driving. But people should learn to not block the box anyway. It kind of slows up the flow of traffic, and even though at that moment it doesn't affect anyone, you have to be cognizant that it could. Galvin, London. What goes around comes around store. Luxury vintage. Wow, that's kind of cool. The Brooklyn Diamond coffee place is closed up. Wow. There was even like pieces of cardboard in the window. Barber Surgeons Guild, coming soon. Bistro Argentino, closed up. Or maybe it's opening soon. I can't really tell. Restaurant Felix Bar. Sanctuary Tea, very classy restaurant. Now I will make a left onto Grand Street. And I will walk Grand Street until the border of Chinatown. There's a lot of garbage and litter on this street. It makes it very unsightly. It's also a tripping hazard because that bag I just stepped over wasn't tied. The open end of the bag could easily get stuck in someone's feet. I'm back at Wooster Street now. Very interesting name for a store called ⁴. Looks like they design home furniture. Wolf and Badger, independent brands. That's a good way to lower prices and get people's ideas onto the market. If your design or outfit isn't accepted by the bigger brands, just have a bunch of independent designers get together and pool their clothing into one store. There's some big drops in the sidewalk here. It's not always flat. There's a lot of traffic here. We're approaching Broadway. This is one of the main streets heading east. Someone's getting out of their cab here. Back on Broadway, the busiest street of SoHo.
I mean, everyone like that we know and shit is like saying it's lit, but then you know how it's like you have like the news and shit that it's like they're so into
Okay, I think it's safe to cross the street now. Everyone here is making left turns. Naked and famous denim. I can see why.
That's what I think I need.
Very experimental fashion. I'm not exactly sure what this place is supposed to be. Lafayette, New York. Oh, it's a hair salon, beauty salon. I just crossed Crosby Street. I'm about to pass by Lafayette Street and Center Street as well. And then I'll be in Chinatown. There's another office for WeWork. Lafayette Street. The street goes all the way down to City Hall and the Brooklyn Bridge. And since we're talking about the City Hall and Brooklyn Bridge right now, let me point the camera at this magnificent looking building to the left. If I can get a good view of it underneath this tree, that is. I need to walk past it. This building used to be the headquarters of the New York City Police Department. However, now that's in City Hall at 1 Police Plaza. I don't know what this building is used for anymore, but there's that. But anyway, this concludes my video of SoHo. If you liked it, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a big thumbs up. Ring that bell icon to get notified. And I'll see you later. Take care.